They're like,
Oh,
what
yeah.
the hell happened?
Why do they look worse in the beginning?
Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect.
Like,
That's going to be our intro right there to the episode. Like, why do
Why
we
do you
look worse in the beginning? Hey guys, welcome back to the Dark Collective podcast with myself, Red, and the ever so beautiful Miss Jen.
Hello, everyone. We also have Miss Bethany on here.
Bethany!
For those who don't know, she is our karate chopping cinnamon roll. And who we referred to last week as we're like, the bunny from Pets. Secret Life of Pets.
For those of you who don't know, Bethany is a pivotal part to Sinners and Stardust. She does all the things that we cannot do.
Yep. All them spreadsheets. She taught me how to do spreadsheets. I'm getting better.
She's doing so good. I'm so
Thank
proud.
You. Thank you.
It's so beautiful.
Really try.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, all the spreadsheets, all the documents, all that is Bethany. All of our volunteers keeping me on track.
Discord. Yeah. What the hell is a Discord?
I still don't know.
I'll get you guys there, I promise.
Thank you.
I have to know because Bethany, you saw the first episode, you saw the shenanigans that it completely was. But I have to ask, like, why are you a part of Sinners and Stardust? Like, what makes you feel so stoked to be here?
Oh, goodness gracious. I mean, I've been best friends with Jen. Will be 2 years this year, and it's honestly, it's just like whatever she wants to do, I support her 100%. So it's just like, cool, we're doing this thing. Okay, I'll be right behind you. I don't know exactly what we're doing and how it's happening, but we're gonna do it, and we're gonna do it great. Cool. That's what we're doing.
Figure it out.
That's pretty much how it ends up here.
Yeah, like the Jason Momoa TikTok where he's like, I don't know, but I'm gonna do everything in my power. That one, I don't even know how it really goes, but that is Bethany. I'll message her and be like, hey, you might not know how to do this, but how do you do X, Y, and Z? And she's like, hold please. Comes back 5 minutes later and she's like, here's a screen recording or a list of exactly how I did it, talking through. But I'm like, how?
No,
how?
But it's the truth. Like, for you guys listening to episode 2 right now, like, you understand that we had covers for our teasers and I could not figure out Canva to save my life. Like, Canva is my nightmare. I know CapCut, I'm good, but Canva, that is a beast I will never understand. And I call Bethany after working on something for like at least an hour and a half. Like, Bethany, how do I make it to where it's like 3,000 by 750 and not 3,000 by 1650? Because it needs to be a banner on Apple Podcasts. I can't figure it out. Like, not even joking you. 15 minutes later, oh, I made all your banners. You're ready to go. I'm like, but how do I access it?
I don't think you understand.
No, I didn't know it swiped. Who knew it freaking swiped in Canva?
Swiped. There was more than one page in Canva.
So
but like, I don't think you understand. I was literally in my car driving to Orlando. I was like, babe, I need you to put your hotspot on. I grabbed my iPad and just like open this one, open that one, copy this over here. And I was like, I will get this done.
She is a literal human spreadsheet. And I swear to God, we all have our strengths in this group. And my strength is understanding how to edit and post. And I'm really good at video editing. And I'm good at like coming up with content, being loud, filling the silence weirdness. Like, great. Making a regular spreadsheet for my taxes, let alone an event like this, absolutely not. I pay people to do this for me. Not doing it. Not touching it. And Jen just runs everything. Jen does everything that we do not see.
So much we don't see. And a lot we do see.
I hate it.
So we just all got back from Boston. We talked about in episode 1. By the time you guys hear it, we've already come back. And we literally just got back. And it was so cold. And Jen was like, this is nothing.
So today, I literally went to do laundry. And I wore a t-shirt and like my sweatpants and my house shoes. Because I live in condos. And there's like a little building right next to my building for like the people that live here to do your laundry because we don't have them in our units. And I was like, this is oh my, I might lay outside today. Like, you know, because sometimes when it starts getting like sunny a little bit, I'll get a
You're gonna
blanket
tell
and
me.
a tank top and just like lay out in the sun. And I was talking to the girls and I was like, no, it was warm here today. And I looked at the temperature and it was 39 degrees.
Absolutely not. When we
I was
were
like,
in
never mind.
Boston,
Show
it was
me.
like wet snow.
It was
And
wet
it was
snow.
like sleet the whole time.
I wore
It is
like
cold.
bodysuit with tight jeans and a sweatshirt. And thank
Your
God
leg
Bethany
warmers.
got an awesome jacket from freaking TikTok that I stole from her. Uggs, socks, leg warmers. And I still was like, it's cold.
I was in like a skirt with tights and a bodysuit. To be fair though, the tights, I had them feel them. They are
they were thick.
So thick. They're literally winter tights. But I was still like, this is wonderful. I'm a little warm. Everyone was like, no, it's freezing here. The only time I was cold was in between the buildings when we were walking. And it was like that wind. And I felt like I was from Frozen whenever they're like in the tundra, like doing the ice.
Oh my God. And there's a meme right now that's like crazy big on TikTok.
Born of cold and winter air and mountain rain combining.
Frozen.
Yeah. I love how all of us know the TikToks, but none of us know how they actually
None of us
go.
know the words. Like, we're the words.
We're like,
I know the vibe.
Like, so bad.
I love it. It's wonderful.
So being in Boston was awesome. We finally got to, see our venue, the Royale for the ball, close down so we could walk around it. And we posted a bunch of it.
I had
on
already
Instagram.
seen it. But
yes, lucky woman already saw it.
Get to see it.
Bethany and I were like a kid in a candy store. We were so stoked just because we got
running
to see
around.
Oh, we were running around like little children. Jen's just.
I would turn and there was like they were right behind me, and I would look and they're like up on the second floor recording. And I'm like, how did you get up there so fast? Like I just turned my eyes. Felt like I had.
We're like toddlers.
Again.
You can't keep us contained.
We were gone. There was no like.
No, and I look. Red's on the stage, and then Joy's over on the other side taking pictures. It was fun though. I had a blast.
It was amazing, and I think Bethany and I got really stoked on the mirrors once we learned we could put lights behind the mirrors and choose the colors. Like we were like, ooh, selfie stations. Like
so many.
You get a selfie, and you get a selfie.
We made Jen come on stage though, but to really see what it's like up on that stage because it's daunting. It's daunting, but not that bad. But I cannot wait to see Jen on stage introducing herself in front of like 800 to 900 people. It's going to be fantastic.
That you're going to think I'm still at the ball when that happens. I'm like back at the hotel sleeping.
She's already gone.
She just dipped. Bye, Jen. See you later. Bethany, what was your favorite part of the Royale?
Oh goodness. I am such a sucker for like comfort. And so there's just so many couches and just places where I can just chill and just lounge. There are so many comfortable seats. That's my favorite part. I need to be able to be comfortable. I also need plenty of like leg room for the dance floor and things like that. But like I need somewhere to sit because I cannot stand in heels for too long. So like that's my favorite part.
I agree 1,000%. Well, you guys, you will hear so much more about Boston, so much more about our crazy adventures leading up to Sinners and Stardust. But today we are here for an amazing special guest. And that is why our cinnamon roll crime fighting bunny, every other reference we have given her is here today. So Bethany, who's here?
We have Opal Reyne.
So we had to convince Bethany to be here for this interview. Like
she was trying to say my Wi-Fi doesn't work.
It did go out. It went out. It totally went out. It's been storming here. First off.
So we are so excited. We are recording this separately from the actual interview, so you guys can get the full interview right after this. We are so excited to welcome Opal Reyne to our event, Sinners and Stardust, as well as to our podcast at Our Collective Podcast. So tune in, guys, and take a listen to Miss Opal Reyne. All right, guys. So we are so excited to have our very first signing author from Sinners and Stardust. Everyone, please welcome the ever so amazing Miss Opal Reyne.
Hello.
Wow. Dream.
We are so excited to not only have myself and Miss Jen, but we also have Miss Bethany here from the Dark Collective to interview one of our amazing authors. So we're just going to kind of just jump right on in, and we're going to, take turns asking questions to the ever so luscious Opal Reyne, because I think luscious fits. So Opal, who was the first author or book that you fell in love with?
In terms of spicy content, Cresley Cole's Immortals After Dark series is my introduction into spicy content, and I never looked back.
I read her first
Absolutely
book,
not.
the first book in that series, and it was good. It was good.
Yeah. My favorite book, I think, is called Dark Abyss, and it has a demon in it. He's got red skin. He's got like all these piercings and horns, and I'm just like, I should have known then that I liked the more monstery sort of men.
You said that was the day I picked up a pen and started writing.
Yeah. Like, she tried to make him out to be grotesque, and I was like, sounds more delicious the more we go along.
You're like, what do you mean? He has red skin and he's 7 feet tall? Count me in.
Right?
I just heard piercings and red, and I'm like, oh my God, is that my future husband?
Yeah, he's got like piercings all over his face and all over his junk, and it's just like, yeah, nice.
You're like, yes. We're like slowly bringing Red into like more monsters and paranormal, because she's mainly our because Bethany loves like the spicy cinnamon roll books, and Red loves like the lighter spicy fantasy books. So we're like, we're gonna bring you over to the dark side. Come on.
We're getting there.
I feel like Cresley Cole would be a really good introduction into that, because like her spice is spicy, but it's not intensely spicy. Not like as insane detail as like what I and quite a few other authors have. And so like, but you get that fantasy sort of paranormal vibe, but it's also set in modern day, so it's a lot easier to digest rather than it being like a whole bunch of like fantasy and lore explaining for a whole different era and time. Instead, it's like modern day, and then there's all this lore.
I think that's the reason why, because I asked them when we started this whole thing, I'm like, give me an intro to dark romance, because I'm coming off ACOTAR from Blood and Ash, like I'm coming off major fantasy, and Jen was just like, oh yeah, Haunting Adeline, you'll be good, it's great, you'll love it, and I was just like,
Listen. So all the Dark Collective knows about me. I love throwing people to the wolves, no matter if it's my dating life, if it's my reading taste. I always say check the triggers, like make sure to check them, all those things. But so when I was younger, my Aunt Debbie, shout out Aunt Debbie, you're a menace. So we went to a theme park, and she was like, hey, we're going to go on a roller coaster. And I was probably like 7, 8. And she goes, we're going to ride the smallest ride here. And so, then we'll build up throughout the day. And I was like, okay, yeah. So we get on. I bruised my mom because I was holding onto her arm so tight and screaming. We get off, and my Aunt Debbie was like, well, that's the biggest roller coaster here, so you can ride any other ones, no problem. And that's my outlook on life. It's like, start big, and then everything else is probably okay. But yeah,
I'm just so fantasy based, and like when we were in Boston, we did that TikTok trend where it was like, choose your character, and literally it's me holding Crescent City and Fourth Wing, like fantasy.
Hey, at the end of the day, whatever gets you reading is good.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
You're welcome. And you liked Haunting Adeline.
I did. But that's why I think what Opal said would be good for me, because what I loved about it was it's modern day. It's such a great shift, because like when you read these crazy world building books, like sometimes you just get like confused.
Like you kind of need like a palate cleanser in between. You're like, all right, exactly. My brain hurts, but now we're good.
I'm over here like, give me all the world building. I need in a completely different world from where I'm at right now. Take me out of here.
So what was the first story you ever wrote? Not even like published, that you ever wrote.
Does it have to be completed or not completed?
No.
Cool. So I have attempted to write a series twice now. I started trying to write it at 19 and then again at 23. And I lack the discipline and the ability to focus and just sit at my computer. But it is an immortal series, and it has been mulling around in my head for quite a while now, and I want to now introduce it again in the future as Immortal Monsters. So
Ooh.
I got about one fifth of the way through it, and yeah, it's something I really want to come back to, because I've always loved anything that has like characters that have different elements. So like a water character and a fire character. So
Gotcha.
I love that so much.
But yeah,
I
but
can just see
then
Bethany smiling ear to ear. That's
I know.
all I see. Just like, oh my God,
We're all
yes,
like-
yes, yes.
well, yeah,
Like
and like because I write monsters, I want to make them very much like monster elements. So
Yeah.
it'll be fun.
Not just where they're like shifters and people are like, it's monster romance. It's like actual monsters.
I think I'll probably end up making them a form of shifter, but like that they have a humanoid form that is still very monstery. But
Yeah.
you know, some of them, they do need to be able to be touched, like a fire elemental. Like you can't really have sex with fire unless you literally want to disintegrate.
You're like, ooh.
But I do have ideas about how to get around that, because I love getting around stuff. But like it's something I really want to dive into, and so yeah, it's gonna be fun.
That'll be so amazing. Is it going to be like
very
super
excited.
spicy or just kind of like more focused on world building, or do you know yet?
Probably very similar in the terms of like the Dustwalker Brides, but like there'll be lore, but there'll be lots of spice. All of my books have quite a lot of spice, so that's why I get a bit worried about people who are like not used to the monster romance genre, and then wanting to listen to the audiobook of Assaulter Keep. I'm like, oh, you're in for it. Like that is.
Are you sure?
It was so good though.
Make sure there are no
Like,
children anywhere.
Wolfgang growls, and he has a very growly voice, and like he does do like the moans and like all that kind of stuff. And like I have on my Patreon a video of me reacting to a scene when I was listening to it as for the proofread, and I'm literally like squealing the entire time, and it's very funny. But like I wrote it and I could not even handle it. And like he is aware that every time he does an audiobook for me, he's going to get reactions of me just screaming.
I love
Aww.
it. You're just like,
that is absolutely perfect. I
get red in the
told
face.
Jen, yeah, the entire time. I had called Jen and I was just like, this is so good. This is absolutely perfect. This is exactly what I would have thought a Dustwalker would have sounded like. Like I was just like fangirling. I was just like, this is so good. This is so good. She's just like, I gotta get through it. Leave me alone. But Opal, I was wanting to know, because we were kind of talking about like things that you do, like mundane things. So if you are listening to an audiobook or just in general, when you're not writing, what are your favorite things to do?
I used to really enjoy gaming. That was a big one for a long time. I just recently was playing Baldur's Gate 3.
I've heard all about this and I want to play it
I've heard so much.
It's so good. It's so good. And I got really upset when my partner decided to romance Astarion, because then I couldn't romance Astarion. So I made my own profile to romance Astarion.
Like,
and like I really want to romance Christmas, which is a spider guy, and I'm just, oh man. But yeah, what else do I do? I don't do much these days. I like reading. I really, really enjoy driving, and I really enjoy cranking up the music and going for a drive. And I am trying to get into hiking to better my health and do a mundane task that's quite active that makes my mind wander so that I can think about my books.
I completely support that. Like I hate working out. I hate caring about health, but as you get older, you need to care.
I used to work in physically laborious jobs. So I used to be like a forklift driver, a truck operator, a steel manufacturer, a crane operator. So I used to like do all that kind of stuff. And so I was lifting quite a lot, and I was very strong, and now I have become quite weak. And yeah, so but I recently, when I switched over to being a full-time author, I went from doing that to doing this. And so I'm at my computer 12 to 16 hours a day, and I got fat, and now like I was able to do like a 10K hike I went on a 7.4K hike. I got 3Ks in, sat down, almost fainted, and went, no, I'm going home.
You're like,
No.
I'm
And like,
dying.
But like in my own defense, it was a 43% incline, which if you think about it, is like that.
yeah,
So it was quite like I was dying, and it was for a whole K that it was like that. And so like I did well getting like there, and then I just went, no. Like the moment I went, I'm gonna faint, and I had to lay down like
Yeah,
on
just,
the
like,
track
fetal
on the
position.
dirt. Literally, I just went, I'm a hazard. I need to go home. But I'm an idiot though. I like thinking I can do things, and then like just going beyond what I think I'm capable of. Going, I can beat this if I just grit and bear it. It's a moderate track, not an easy track, and I haven't moved in like a year, and so
Yeah.
it was a foolish decision.
No, I fully understand that.
The last time I talked to you, you were like, "Oh, I just got done writing 5,000 words. You know, not a big deal." And I'm just like, "What?" Like, but it's true. Like, you write so much in such a short period of time, based on just the 2 times I've talked to you now. So I do have a question. So when did you decide that writing was your passion? Like, how long have you been doing it?
I've been trying to write on and off since I was 19. Like I said, I tried to write that book twice. But I really sat down and started writing when I was 26. But I've always really enjoyed reading. But I didn't know where I was in the world in the terms of my creative niche. Like I used to be a painter. I used to sculpt. I used to draw a lot of surrealism. And that unfortunately had to stop once my tremors started. So like I can't do that. Like I can do it, but it's just like an insane amount of me trying to focus on me not shaking while I'm drawing. But like, yeah, I used to sing. I'm tone deaf though. Just don't tell young me.
Same.
I love to
Cannot
sing. I just can't do it.
Cannot.
I'm very eccentric, and so like I wanted to go into drama, and my mum tried to help me go into acting, and so there were all these different things that I wanted to do. And one of the reasons why I was so hesitant about becoming an author is because I had a reading and writing disability as a kid. And so when everyone was writing at a year 2 comprehension level, I was reading at a kindergarten comprehension level. But it was just through the grit and repetition of reading that I managed to get into to really enjoying reading, you know what I mean? So being able to do it well and then write it has always been a bit of a battle. And like I'm constantly learning. And my editor has just seen me go from like my new editor, because I have a new one that I started with Assault Guide. So just from her seeing how she edits and me absorbing that, I'm learning. So, but like it's yeah.
What is it hard going to a new editor? Like, or is that hard?
It's every author has a different journey when it comes to getting editors. I've gone through 5.
Oh wow.
5.
My goodness.
And it's just because like when you're a small author and you don't have an expendable income and it's very finite, you try and find editors in your budget, and they aren't always amazing, but you don't know that. Especially for me, like I said, I had a reading and writing disability as a kid, and that still exists in me. I would read over what they've edited and I'm going, that's right. You know what I mean? Because like that's my comprehension of it. And so I would try and get new editors to try and, because like my first series, the Adeus Chronicles, I ended up unpublishing due to editorial issues, even though I had 2 editors go over that series. And I read it and I was like, that's right. You know what I mean? And then people would be like, it's wrong. And I'm just like, okay.
Like, no. What do you mean?
And so same thing, once I started going into other series, I found 2 other editors. One of them ended up having to step back because her life got busy. And the other one just was not what I wanted at that time. And then I ended up going with an Aussie editor, which is what I wanted. Someone who I wouldn't have to go, no, that's how you spell that in Australia, like Australian English. And that's why I ended up switching and just Messengers, which is my editor, Messenger Memos, has just been wonderful to work with. And because she lives in Australia, it's a much easier bond to have because, I'm not correcting, Australian spellings. So that's why, one of the reasons why I jumped over. So, yeah.
Did you find her through like social media or through someone her way?
I actually found her through a friend, but this friend also helps run a rather large book group on Facebook, and she was like, I have someone who is a fan of yours, love to meet you. I found out she was an editor. We did some samples, and I just went, yeah, okay, you're hired. So
you're like, perfect.
Yeah, it's a lot about getting recommendations, and it's about which is really hard when you're a new author because you don't have a lot of those contacts. And so I do try to share, but unfortunately, like trying to my knowledge of editors is actually really small. I know 2 editors, and I'm using one of them.
You're like,
2 editors I would trust.
But I don't know.
Yeah, there are 2 editors that I trust, and I'm using one of them. So that's it. So like when people go, who do you use? I'm like, oh, this is it.
This is my person.
And they're very busy because like they're known, so it makes that harder.
Yeah, it's harder to get in with those people.
Yeah.
I'm like, dang it. No. Right, so for the Duskwalkers, how many books are you planning? Because there's 5 out right now, right?
Yeah.
And then the 6th is coming out in a couple weeks.
Yes, Assault to Steal is coming out in, just a couple of weeks, less than 3 weeks. There will be 8 books for the Dustwalkers themselves, but there will be a prequel featuring Wilder and the Witch Owl, which will likely be a duet because it scans hundreds of years before the Dustwalker Bride starts and actually finishes afterwards. But I do suggest anyone who reads the 8th book in the series reads the little tidbit at the end because I will be detailing a potential surprise for the future.
Ooh.
Quite a few years in the future.
Bethany, don't pass out.
I'm trying so hard right now. I'm taking breaths. I'm sitting here, my hands are clasped, and I'm just doing this to like focus on my...
Bethany's like, happy dance, finger guns. That's awesome. So I know, because I know on Amazon it says like 5 out of 6. So I was like, I know sometimes that could be like the final amount, but maybe there's gonna be more.
So Amazon's not really good to look at in the terms of like how many books there's going to be in a series because it's just what the author has uploaded as their series amount. But like I don't have all the covers and I don't have all the series names set up on my Amazon because I don't want people to go look at that. I release it at the end of every book. So yeah.
I never knew that. I was like, this is, it says how many's in the series.
Well, some authors don't know. Some authors don't know. Like there are books that they don't realize they think it's going to be 11 books. It ends up being like 20, so. Yeah.
I can't even imagine writing 20 books in a series like that. Like I've definitely read series like that, but I can't imagine keeping everything straight. Like I forget everything if I don't. I mean, I guess you have it written down. I was like, if I don't write it down, I forget.
None of it's written down for me.
No. Do you plot anything, or do you just jump in?
I'm a planner, so like I have head plots, but I've never written it down. I don't write it down. But yeah, I'm a planner, mainly leaning towards panzer, so I just write on a whim as it comes.
Gotcha. But do you have any books that you're working on outside of the Dustwalker realm, or because I know you mentioned like the prequel, so it's still in that realm?
I do have more Witchbound books that I want to release, but I am just focusing on the Dustwalker Brides at the moment. I am trying to finish the series, and I plan to wrap it up by the beginning of 2025. I release every 4 months for that series, and I'm trying to get it done so that everyone can have some closure because it is my big series and everyone's really excited for it. But my partner and I are trying to start our family. And it has been a very long process. And if I don't want to get baby brain or get to that point where like I have to stop writing and then everyone's waiting a year for a book because I'm just not able to separate myself as a first time mother to being an author. So I just want to get the series done so that I can give everyone the closure that they deserve.
Yeah, and then just you can focus on your family.
Well, congratulations.
Congrats.
Your fans are going to go ape when they hear that. Like, that's amazing.
Well, like we've been trying now for quite a while. I think almost 2 years. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. That's.
I have decided. I have made an executive decision that I will be pregnant once. So if I have twins, fantastic. If I have a single child, fantastic. But only once. I don't want to.
I think if Opal gets pregnant, she would be the one person that has like 7 babies at once, just as the world is like, I write monsters, so I'm going to give you 7 babies at once.
Oh God, no, please.
But I will find you if that happens.
If you spoke it into existence, Red.
I just put it out there in the world. I'm manifesting.
Please don't. Please don't.
Oh, you put
No.
that on. I take it back. Exit out.
I better leave the podcast before it becomes a reality. No.
Yeah, it's just like damn you, Red.
Before the vibes touch. No. But I'm a very big kid, and I know that I'm gonna have oodles of energy for my kid or kids or whatever it ends up being. And so like it's gonna be so much fun because now I will have someone I can torture by going, we are going to an amusement park today. Come on. Yeah. Because I've got no one else to go with, so
it's so much fun.
Oh, I love that. So, okay, so obviously talking monsters and stuff like that, but we all know you write about monsters. I mean, that's why we love you. It's your thing. But what is your favorite genre to read? Like when you're reading and it's not your own and writing 5,000 words a day, what is your favorite genre?
Well, I would have to say it's the alien or monster romance, and mainly alien because they end up being monstery anyway. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I really enjoy the sci-fi aspect of it and just the different way things can go. Because like I feel like with monster romance, unless people introduce like heavy amounts of magic, there's a lot of restrictions. Whereas with sci-fi, they just a magic button and something. Yeah, you know, like you can do anything. You know, instead of it being a shrinking ray, it's an enlarging ray. You know what I mean? If you catch my drift. You know what I mean?
He like just pointed at his groin. She's like, "Pow!"
Yeah. You know, so like it can be anything, and that's what I really like about sci-fi. And yeah, and there doesn't have to be an explanation as to how they came to being. It's an alien. Something happened.
Like, no, it's an alien. That's all you need to know. No one knows where they come from.
Anything can happen.
Yeah.
I love that so much. Yeah, I've read multiple sci-fis in my time. I think I started out reading fantasy. That was kind of like my go-to. The Sword of Truth series was my one book that made me fall in love with reading I was in 8th grade, which I definitely should not have been reading that book in 8th grade, but my mom was always a huge reader and my brother, so we would have our own bookmarks, and the second you finished reading it, you would put it down and one of us was running to grab it, and then we would open up from our bookmark. And that was like how I got into reading. But I love the sci-fi books as well.
So cute.
But I know. I'm like, oh. So we have mentioned, like, you live in Australia. We're all in, the US. What all book conventions or author signings are you going to for 2024?
So I am going to an Australian book signing in Queensland in the Gold Coast because it is in the same city as me. It's the only reason why I'm doing an Australian signing this year. And that is on the 23rd of this month. I am going to Sinners and Stardust in August, and then in September I'm going to Rare Edinburgh. So.
Okay, I've heard so many things about Rare. I'm like, let me in with my little shop.
I went to Rare Melbourne last year and I really enjoyed it. It was my very first convention and I just really enjoyed how everything was done, which is why I'm going again. So
yeah, what were your favorite things about the convention?
I really liked how accessible it was for everyone. And look, it's that day is still a bit of a blur. Well, 2 days, but it was still a bit of a blur for me because, like, it was my first signing, okay, and like a Soul to Keep had only come out, I think about 9-10 months before it. So like I was not expecting like a line or anything, and then I get to my table and they put bollards up to say that I'm gonna have a line. I've gone, nah, I'm not gonna need it.
Like,
I needed it. I needed it, and like I was very scared, and like everyone was like, "Oh my god, I'm so frightened of you," and I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm dying inside." Help. Loved it though, absolutely adored everyone, but it's just like it was very confronting for me. Just that was my very first signing, and then just to have a line and all that. Kind
It's like
of
the
stuff
thing where you go, "Excuse me for a second," and you like walk out of the room, and you're like, and you like come
Pretty
back
much.
in. Everyone heard it, but you're like.
No, we definitely are still like with our table layouts, like figuring out where to put our biggest authors, because like we know that there's going to be massive lines, you included, and it's just like cool. This is gonna be so much fun. We're really excited about this. Like, please don't freak out.
Yeah, we're figuring out our ticketing system and like all that fun stuff. But yeah, we're very excited to have you, and we're so honored to have you. Whenever you signed up, we were all like, "Oh my god!"
I lost it for a good 2 minutes. I was just sitting on my phone, just like I threw my phone. I was like, "There's no way I read what I just read." There's
I like
no way
answer
I just read
Bethany's
that.
call, and it's just her screaming for like 2 minutes. No words. No.
Just like the pterodactyl scream, just
Preach.
Well, this will be my first US signing, so it'll be fun.
I think
Very
that is
excited to
so,
read it.
like I told you that when I interviewed last time, like I cannot thank you enough on behalf of everyone, and now everyone's here, just because that is such a big deal, and you're leaving your little place, coming to our place, like we're just so excited.
We're so humbled and honored.
Have you ever been to the US before?
I've never left Australia.
This is so exciting.
So I will be though next month. I'm going on my very first proper holiday, like vacation, and my partner and I were going to Japan. And so yeah,
Always wanted to
awesome.
Japan.
We're going on a 3-week tour. So we're going all around it. And so like that'll be my first foot into doing something international, and then it'll be the States and then the UK. I plan to go to
Did you go through like a travel company, or are you just kind of planning it all out yourself?
So I'm actually we're going with another couple. I'm going with Kaya Carrington-Russell, who is another author, and her partner. And I'm a wing it type person. She is an itinerary type person. So I just went,
I'm the itinerary.
Take it. I can't do it. She asked me the other day, she goes, "Have you done travel insurance yet?" And I went, "That's a thing I need." And she went,
You're like, "What?"
Yeah. And I went, I had no idea. Like, I'm horrible. I would have walked into like a flight center and just being like, "Hey, can you help me book this?" And then being like, "What do you want to do?" And me going, "Oh."
You're like, "Japan? Maybe?"
Yeah, just
I told you
basically I said I want to go everywhere, and she's putting me almost everywhere, and I'm happy with that.
Oh, I love that.
That's perfect. There always has to be like one of each. For like the perfect trip, the person who's just great with going everywhere, and the one who's just like stressing about going everywhere, and then that works out perfectly.
Yeah.
I have been dying to ask though, and this is again it's unrelated, but I was wondering who your favorite dusk walker is and why. I know it's a hard one. I have to know. You can give like you can do like a tier if you need to, but
I don't know. I don't. So the Duskwalkers are all so different, and that's why I find it really, really hard to pick. Like, I love sad boys. Like, I don't know if other people hate it when the main male character cries, but I'm just like, yeah, let it out.
So much.
I'm like, emotion.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah. And like, there's just something special about seeing a man cry. You're just like, he's so in touch with his emotions, right? And like. You know, and so like each of the Dustwalkers has that, and so Orpheus being my sad boy and my dumb sad boy, I love him to bits. But then there's Nameless, who is just a precious little bean, and then there's Faunus, who is very sassy and very playful. He's my seductive boy, and like I love him for that reason. Then you got Merrick, and I love a grumpy pants, like. just the sass in that book. He's so grumpy. He's so cynical too, which just makes him even funnier. Then you got Ingram. Gosh, Ingram, you sweet man. There is not a thought behind those eyes.
Oh my God.
This is the best thing I've ever heard.
And so
I love
my
authors
cheeks
gushing
hurt.
over their characters. It makes me so happy.
Yeah, and then you've got A Soul to Steal, and like you'll see when he comes out just what makes him really sweet and cute. But then I've started writing the next book, and ooh, I think I may end up having a favorite.
Oh,
So
I think it's funny that like 8 out of 10 that you just mentioned, I can't even count because I was laughing so hard. Is like my husband. He's like, there's not a thought behind his eyes.
there's not a
I also
thought.
love that they're all like huge, and you're like, he's such a cute little bean.
They're like 7, 8 feet tall. Like,
No, they're just a real baby. Come
I
here.
know.
Pat,
It's
pat.
like when like we all see like the huge dogs, and we're like, no, puppy. People are like, that is a grown dog. Like you're like, no.
every dog is puppy.
Yeah, every dog's a puppy.
I don't care how big or small, it's puppy.
Yeah, like a rabid pit bull. I'm just like, oh, you're just letting your feelings out.
You're like, look at his little face.
I love them so much. The bigger the puppy, the better.
Right.
So yeah, I can't pick. It's just they're all. I love them all for different reasons.
So I like that though, because you know they're your babies that you've created that people fall in love with. Now but I have to ask. Now, obviously, I don't see this being you in any of these. But like, do you write yourself into any of your characters?
I do.
Yeah.
Almost all of all of them. The boys have a lot of like the side of me I think is more internal. So like all the emotions that I find I struggle to deal with, they also struggle to deal with. But then each of the female characters has essences of who I am. And so yeah, like Rhea for me, like she's not afraid of things, but she is afraid of things, and she doesn't know how to combat her fear. And then you've got Delora, who that book is very much a reflection of how I dealt with my depression and BPD. And so like writing her story was very much how I went through my own mental health battle and how toxic I was, and then how I ended up, I grew and found a way to love myself while someone was so supportive to me, who allowed me to have a place to be nurtured to grow and be happier. And that's that story for Delora. And so like I wrote a lot of that, my journey with her. But then like Mayumi, I'm cold and calculated, and like I said, I don't have fears, but like I do have fears, but like I don't have fears. And so like that makes you very feel very desensitized and abrupt and abrasive. And so like I'm very much Mayumi in that way. But then like you go to Raven, and I can be quite a happy sunshine, and I can be very witty when it comes to my humor, but then I can also be quite intelligent like her as well. And then Emery is a really good representation of just like, it's okay to freak out while you're doing the right thing. Like it's okay to be screaming internally going, I'm going to die, but then like still going off and doing all the battles that you need to do.
It's so impressive to see authors write themselves into different characters, and also to just hear the characters in their point of view, because obviously as readers, we're just like, oh my God, this is exactly what's happening in my mind. But they're like, you know what? Good for you. That's not what I was thinking, but good for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
So back to conventions. So you're going to a couple this year. What authors that you're going to be meeting or that you've already met would you probably like geek out over the most? Like, oh my God.
I'm very excited to meet Regina Abel. We've been friends for a little while now, and I really want to meet her. I actually plan to stop off in the States and fingers crossed, stop in and see some other authors that I would really love to meet. Unfortunately, like because Sinners and Stardust is more towards dark romance, there are quite a few authors from there that I want to meet, but the authors that like are in my own genre that I want to meet aren't going. So Regina Abel is one of the few that are. CM Hutton, I'm really excited to meet. C. Rochelle, I'm really excited to meet as well. So there's quite a few number of authors, but yeah, it's just in the terms of who I've read and want to meet is quite low because I get a finite amount of time to read. And so I haven't been able to read the backlist of who's going. I know their names and I know their books and I know like that they are very well taken by other readers, but it's just I don't have the time to read and I haven't been able to. So, but there's quite a few people I'm excited to meet. There's quite a few vendors at Sinners and Stardust I'm excited to meet. Specifically, someone Fallen Sky who does a lot of the Dustwalker art.
Yeah.
When you were talking about like cute like little bean, all I could picture was the little sticker that Fallen Sky sent me because I signed up for like the Christmas postcard that they were doing, and it's just so cute because Orpheus is just this little cute little Dustwalker sticker. I couldn't find it. I was looking for it, but it's just the cutest, and I'm over the moon. I cannot wait.
Yeah, the plush walker.
Yes,
plush walker.
That's what it was called.
Yeah.
That one's so cute. I love that little sticker. How long are you going to be in the States for?
I'll probably be in the States for around 2-ish weeks, if not a slightly bit more. I'll probably drop off in Boston around 2 days before the event, try and climatize to the jet lag and everything.
Yeah.
I actually don't think I'm going to have that much of an issue considering it's 4 a.m. in the morning currently and I'm very awake. So
what?
Yeah, it's 4 in the morning. So when America wakes up, I'm awake generally. My sleep schedule is all over the place. I don't get up in the morning. I get up generally in the afternoons. I'm just a night owl. And so it really works in the terms of going to America. So
that is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, because it's 9:50. Well, it's not at 10 a.m. where I live, and it's 1 p.m. where they live. So we're just literally time traveling right now. It's totally fine.
That's pretty cool, though. What day is it for you? What inspired you to write monster romance and like paranormal?
So I've always been into fantasy sort of stuff. That's always been where my interests lie. In any kind of media I consume, it's fantasy based. So movies, TVs, games, anything like that, it's fantasy, paranormal. I was already writing paranormal, but I always kind of liked the monster aspect. Like I said earlier, I unpublished a series called the Adeus Chronicles, and each of them was meant to be shifters, but you actually do it with the shifter in their monster form. So instead of it being like a dragon shifter, it's only ever doing anything with the dragon in his human form, that ends up being a scene with dragon stuff. And then with the second book, it was a hellhound werewolf type thing, and then the second one, the third one, he was a demon. And so I was really exploring that sort of stuff. And then, I then started the Witchbound series and same sort of thing. So, and then with the Dustwalkers, though, my journey into actually writing that particular monster is born by a whole bunch of different things, and I'll explain them because people do like to often ask me what inspired me to write the series. And it was a mixture of, I really enjoyed the anime, The Ancient Magus's Bride. I fell in love with the anime and I was drawn to it because I've always been into skull-headed monsters and skeletons in general and just dead things. It's the goth in me, can't help it. But I also really liked the anime Demon Slayer, and I really liked the sort of creepy aspect of the demons. And then I really like cottagecore, spooky sort of stuff, and that sort of insatiable sort of hunger, which can become insatiable hungers of many types. But then, and this is the tipping point, because none of that was enough for me to go, I'm gonna write a book about it. It was, I have intense arachnophobia, intense. I see a spider in my general vicinity and I will tear my skin off. I burn the house down.
I just love to live in Australia.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, camel spiders, those giant things,
yeah. So
even little bitty spiders, all spiders.
Yeah, don't touch me. I think they're cute. I think they're cute though. I actually love watching the little jumping spider videos. I think they're so cute.
Yes.
And they have little furry paws. They're so cute to look at. Don't touch me.
I'm gonna dress up as a spider for the ball. I'm just gonna
Don't
chase
you dare.
Opal around.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's
And the reason why I bring this up is Tiffany Roberts wrote a spider alien monster series, and I loved it. Like, I got over the whole spider aspect. I was so into it, and I just went,
Like,
if they
I
can
own
make
8
me,
spiders now.
yeah, like if they could make me fall in love with a spider alien, I can make people fall in love with a skull-headed monster. That was it. I just went, I can do this.
That's amazing.
That's so fun. I love that.
I love that.
I just
And
love
like a
skull
big,
too.
yeah, and like the big
Like-
thing is that like I also went around and asked all of these Facebook groups, hey, can someone give me a recommendation? And I couldn't get a single one. The monster had not been written in book lore yet in the style that I wanted. There was, I think, an erotica, but it touches on the W word, and I refuse to read anything that has that kind of cultural appropriation. And so, yeah, so like for me, I was like, okay, well, there's no one who's written it that isn't that. And so I was like, I'm going to write it. So, yeah.
It's like,
I was like, it's fine. I'll just write it. Like, you know what? Whatever. I'll just do it.
Best-selling series.
Yeah.
All right. So what's something that you wish that you would have known, like, when you started your journey, like before you wrote your first story, which was our first question, what do you wish you could have told yourself differently?
It's okay to write what you want. Just write it. It doesn't matter how weird it is. Just write it. Someone will enjoy it. And yeah, that's for me a big one. Is like I was so hesitant about writing certain things because I didn't think people would want to read it. You will have readers. You know, I very much could have fallen into being a dark romance writer. I am very good at writing vivid, gory details, and I'm not afraid to delve into things. So I think I would have made a pretty decent dark romance writer, but I just decided to go, fluffy monsters, let's do that instead.
You're like, let's do monster.
Yeah, with like horror aspects. So like a lot of people like to put my books in the dark romance category, and they're not actually dark romance because the romance between the characters isn't dark. But there are dark aspects around it, which for me, that's the difference between dark romance and dark themes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I very much fall into dark themes, but like I very much could have fallen into dark romance.
Well,
I love that because sometimes you just want your characters to be like that cinnamon roll type, but where people are like, "Am I into this? Is this?" Yes.
Yeah, that's generally what I like to write. I know that the Witch Slayer has quite a heavy trigger in it, but the trigger makes sense, and it's one of my favorite scenes that I have written just because of the betrayal in it. But then you find out that the betrayal is not actually a betrayal. It's very, and then the dragon fucking scene. That to me is just.
If that isn't a perfect way to end the interview, just dragon fucking. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, at least for me, and I know Jen and Bethany want to say something too. Thank you so much for doing this again. Like, I am so thrilled to meet you. And like, I love that our interview was almost an hour long because it's just fun to talk to you. Like, and you're such a great interviewee. So for me, at least, like, thank you so much again for doing this.
No, you're welcome. I've enjoyed my time, and I'm very excited for this year. So, gotta see everyone, and
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you wanted to say to any of the listeners, of our 4 listeners that we...
Don't be frightened. The authors are more afraid of you than you are of them.
No, that's what they've been trying to teach me as well. Is it's like, go up and talk to them. I'm like, I can't. I'm so scared.
No, the author is more afraid of you than you are of it. Like I get that it's like, oh, I'm gonna go up to this author and say hello, but instead we're getting like a bunch of people, and we're just like, oh god, I am an introvert in an extroverted environment. Like, help me now. Well, I'm an ambivert, so I'm lucky in that sense. But like, you do get to a point where you're like, social battery low, please recharge.
Yeah, we're like, where's Opal? You're underneath the table, like.
Honestly, you'll likely, like, if I need a moment to myself, it'll be likely that you'll see me in like some corner shoving like a cookie.
She'll be in the
mouth.
quiet room, just hiding.
Yeah,
just give me a moment. Let me digest.
I just need some sugar.
We're gonna
water.
have a quiet room, so
Yeah.
it's gonna be upstairs. So anyone that needs to can just pop upstairs to just decompress and just. All right, let's go back out.
Recharge.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so
Yeah,
perfect.
like
But
Red
yeah,
said, thank you so much for being on. It was absolutely wonderful to talk to you and to get to know a little bit more about you.
thank you for being so open and honest about your journey and your characters and all the fun things you have in store because I'm very excited.
Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
All right, guys. So Miss Opal Reyne is going to head out, but we just wanted to say thank you again so much. And make sure to tune in to the Dark Collective podcast. We are on all platforms, and episodes are every Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, and somewhere in time travel land in Australia with Opal. All right, guys. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.